Hello, my name is Luciana Lolich. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Trinity College Dublin, working in the Horizon 2020 project, SoCaTel. This presentation outlines considerations for online co-creation adapted to long-term care for older people. From our experience in the SoCaTel process, key principles for online co-creation in the context of long-term care services for older people were identified. The concept of co-creation first emerged in the private sector to refer to the processes of interaction and dialogue between consumers and companies aimed at creating value. In the SoCaTel project, co-creation was a collaborative process between stakeholder groups to generate knowledge and potentially develop meaningful digital public services that are tailored to the needs of both the aging population and providers of these services. Online co-creation has pitfalls and potential challenges that co-creators should be aware of before embarking in this process. The lessons presented here are based on data from our focus groups interviews, workshops, observations, and use of specialist software, as well as existing co-creation literature. In the next slides, we outline our key recommendations structured into 3 sections based on the principles of planning, conducting, and evaluation. First, planning. Before embarking on a co-creation process, initiators have to make a number of decisions relating to framing the problem, aims, and purpose. It is important to ensure representativeness of the sample, carefully consider participants, and ideally recruit co-creators using purposive sampling. We recommend considering that it may be necessary to train and upskill co-creators before and during the co-creation process. Second, conducting. Online co-creation requires a platform that is accessible for a diverse group of people. It is important that the co-creation process is perceived as fair and transparent. Therefore, we strongly recommend using an external and/or professional facilitator. Third, evaluation. In this stage, key performance indicators need to be set. When co-creating a public social service, measuring success can be done in 3 ways. By evaluating the satisfaction with the co-creation process and outcome, by assessing the sense of ownership and responsibility for the process felt by participants, and 3, by examining the workability of the proposed solution. In the SoCaTel project, a number of preliminary and co-creation workshops were carried out across 4 pilot sites. When planning a co-creation process, it is important that the problem is clearly defined. Not all social services are equally well suited for co-creation. Local services generally work better for co-creation as they can feel more relevant to service users' knowledge and contributions. The group needs to be selected carefully, as this small group will be tasked with generating solutions that match the needs and resources of a wider target audience. Older adults need to have IT skills and may need to be upskilled to be able to participate effectively. On the other hand, some other participants may need to be educated regarding older adults' needs. The key lesson at this stage is that sampling is a critical element of successful co-creation. It is necessary to have participation from all relevant stakeholders to reflect the user and provider landscapes. Sampling has 2 key aims: to ensure that co-created outcome is relevant to the target group and has a potential for scaling up, and that all stakeholders are represented so that the group can benefit from the necessary expertise. The European Commission has high expectations on co-creation as a promising new approach to service development and design. The term co-creation features in a large number of calls within the Horizon 2020 framework. When conducting a co-creation process through an online platform, it is important that the platform is accessible for a diverse group of people. While online platforms enable some older adults to vocalize the often hidden aspects of how they experience health and social care services, the nature and degree of participation granted to and required from users depends on the possession of certain skills and resources. Older people must not only be able to navigate the platform, but also translate their experiences into contributions that are relevant for the site's anticipated goals of co-creation. It is also important that co-creation process is perceived as fair and transparent. Ideally, co-creation should be conducted with the support of an external and professional facilitator. The key lessons for this phase are to have an older adult-friendly platform to enable inclusive participation. Second, it might be necessary to have relatively short co-creation timeframe to keep the momentum going. Finally, the moderator not only needs to identify relevant topics and ideas to be co-created, but is also required to lead discussions, summarize viewpoints, and encourage people to participate, especially in those cases where people feel they do not have the expertise, knowledge, or qualifications to contribute to the discussion. The aim of the SoCaTel project was to co-create a platform for digitalizing co-creation processes within the involvement and participation of all stakeholders. Furthermore, the project aimed to build a tool and a methodology as a potential solution to the demographic changes affecting Europe and other parts of the world. The final principle centers on the evaluation of the co-creation process. Key performance indicators need to be set early in the process, but may be modified consensually as co-creation unfolds. As co-creation is an iterative process, the evaluation is best embedded throughout the process. The evaluation criteria must include assessing the co-creator's perceived engagement and enjoyment of the process. Engagement can be measured by the commitment to the process, for example, assessing the retention dropout rate of co-creators. Alternatively, evaluation questionnaires can be used, measuring factors like satisfaction of engaging in the process, feedback on the co-creation service, and perceived knowledge and skill development. It is also important to assess the satisfaction with the outcome and the perceived scalability of the proposed solution. The key lessons for this stage are that participants generally derive satisfaction from interaction with other people who share similar concerns and experiences. However, satisfaction with co-created ideas is more difficult to achieve. Second, while an online platform might serve the purpose of connecting stakeholders, its potential as a site of co-creation is more challenging to realize. Finally, building in evaluation throughout the process can help to combat these challenges, as regular evaluation helps to address the dissatisfaction or confusion at an early stage. It is important to consider the key principles of planning, conducting, and evaluation of the co-creation process. Through our experience in SoCaTel, we also identify 4 success factors. 1, to have a well-defined problem of high concern to all stakeholders. 2, to work with a representative group of co-creators. 3, to use professional and/or external facilitation. And 4, to link in with actors and organizations on the ground as soon as a workable idea for change emerges. In summary, we can state that co-creation is an approach to address the lack of person-centered and user experience of health and social care services. In particular, online platforms are gaining momentum as space for co-creation. The challenge, however, remains to engage a motivated group of stakeholders whose contributions lead to improvements that benefit the whole target group. Co-creation is time-consuming and typically requires at least some upskilling and training of involved parties. To do it properly, resources need to be allocated to the process and for implementing and scaling the co-created idea. Successful co-creation requires the services of an experienced facilitator, moderator, who is external to the process, as he or she will be required to is no guarantee for success. Co-creation is a complex, multitask and multi-stakeholder process, more demanding than traditional citizen participation. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation.
Okay.
Okay, I can see the things that could be improved.
Anyway.